Well, good afternoon, or good morning, or whatever it may be to you this time of day. Once again, a Minute of Action is glad to be into your bedrooms, your dining rooms, your living rooms, or wherever you may be watching us. Today is March the 27th of 2010, and we have another great day in the neighborhood. We'd like to first start off, of course, with introduction of myself. I'm T. Russell. I'm with Men of Action, and I've been with for years. And on my right, to my immediate right, I have Tim Kinney, who has joined up with the Men of Action for some time. And to my left, I have Mr. Wayne Williams. And we are all three with the Men of Action to bring you community events and things that we do. Just to touch lightly on what we do here at the Men of Action is we bring community awareness of things going on in the community, as well as political bills, school bills, whatever it may be, whatever subject it may be that we need to address, we will address and bring it to your attention. Today, later on in the program, we're going to have victim assistance from the Fort Wayne Police Department come on and give us a little insight on the way they function down there and their job that they do. And it's a very difficult job that they do. And people in the public need to realize what they do and how they do it and when they can do it and where they can do it. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. But first of all, before we get to that, we're going to do a little, first of all, we start with our first review, which I had the pleasure of watching last night. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and first I was apprehensive about her watching the movie, but after I seen it, it's kind of educational. It was the last movie of Precious. We watched that last night. It was a very interesting movie. The movie talked what it did kind of talk about a young lady going through her life of crisis of where she probably at that time needed to get a hold of victim assistance, but she didn't know how to do it or where to get a hold of them at. So that's why this program is going to be based on that and showing young people as well as older people of what to do when you get into a situation like that, because they can help you and bring you out of that where you don't have to go through all this. So real quick here, I know Mr. Williams got to see the movie himself too, so I'll let him kind of tell you what his feeling was. If you had a rating from 1 to 10, I'd say I'd give it about 9.5. That's what I would give it, because it was a pretty good, very educational to me. And I think it was educational to my family and to my daughter also. It was about a young lady, so I kind of wanted her to watch it to see that. And take in mind, too, if your daughter or your young one is younger than 12, I wouldn't let them watch it. There's a lot of profanity in it, and there's a lot of adult situations in there, I would say. So you kind of want to be aware of that and kind of think about it when you let your child watch it. But Mr. Williams, tell us your view of what you thought about the movie.
I thought it was a very inspiring movie. You get to see someone overcome so many triumphs in their life to actually come up out of that and see the power that it gave her as she overcame these obstacles. And it made her a better person in the long run. It's a very inspirational movie to watch, and I agree with Mr. Russell. People should check that movie out and just to get an aspect of how hard some people do have it coming up out of their situations and compared to what you have it. So, I really thought it was a great movie. And I'd probably give it 9.5 stars also. I wouldn't give it the full 10.
Right.
I like to see a better ending. But it was a great movie, though. It was great.
Yeah, I think to myself, too, I think the ending was kind of left you out there. I don't know if there's going to be a part 2 to it, which I doubt it, because that was some trauma on that young lady. So, but I don't know where they're at, and it's supposed to be based on a true movie too. So, a true life adventure from someone. So, with that in mind, now, Mr. Kenny, what was your view? What you've heard of? What do you think?
Well, my whole intellect on it is that I saw a couple of clips on it. I didn't see the movie. But I will make sure I check that movie out, because my two colleagues here has checked it. They've seen it. So I got to get myself ready to see that movie also. But the clips that I seen on that movie, Mariah Carey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, I think she was some type of counselor, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that right one?
Yeah.
She was some type of counselor, and man, the performance that I seen her give it, man, I didn't know it was Mariah. You know,
yeah.
you know,
I didn't
because
either.
so I thought it was pretty good from what I seen. I can't give it a rating right now, but man, I you know,
Yeah,
thought it was
I'm
pretty
with
good.
you. You know what? I didn't know that was Mariah Carey till the end of the movie, and I kept looking at her and I kept saying, I know this woman from somewhere, but I couldn't figure out where I knew her from. I don't know if I'm so that much out of date on the entertainment scene or what, but she did a terrific role. And also, I failed to mention, so excuse me, gentlemen, I failed to tell about our colleague in the back, Dollar Bill. Can y'all get Dollar Bill right quick? Because I missed him from the last time. Could you kind of tune in on Dollar Bill? And he didn't, Dollar Bill, he doesn't say too much, but he's still our colleague with us, and he's still hanging in with us. He's been with us on several shows, and we'd like to give him his props too. And he's kind of like our overseer to make sure things are done right and equal, and make sure the economy is rolling like it should be rolling. Because I heard he was down there in Congress at one time. Not for sure what position he held, but he was there. Yeah, he was there. Yeah.
Man, he's explosive.
Yeah. Well, that's how you do when you broaden your horizon. That's how you let your children broaden their horizon and let them be able to go places and see things and experience things like that. So that way you'll know what's going on.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So anyway, with that in mind, speaking of Congress, we're going to keep kind of pedaling right along here. We had I guess the president had a explosive.
Amen.
I guess you could say landslide over the health care bill. And I guess that's good for some people, and some people it's not good for them. But for the people that do not have a job, which is millions of Americans, or do not have health care, that's something that I'm sure they're probably going to appreciate down the line. And as far as there's a lot of people, just like the school system, but we'll stay with the health care bill for now. But just like the way things are going with the health care bill, and the way things were passed, and the way things have gotten done, there's a lot of people. I'm not going to say Democrat, Republican. You kind of judge that on your own,
right?
What you think it is.
Yeah.
But after the bill was passed, or it was say we're going to do this, there was a lot of things that, once again, I think victim assistance might have had to get involved in some of this, because there's violence going on in certain states and threats made to certain top officials, senators, et cetera, and so on, that you would think that, that time of age is over. But, as you can see, we still have people in this world that are childish. We have people in this world that cannot, how can I say it, hold their prejudice back, and they just get out of control.
Right.
Then you got the ones that are out of their minds too, that can't help themselves, and they feed into this.
Right.
That's all they do. So I'm saying that to say this: while you're at your workplace, be real careful how you talk about politics, and how you talk about the Bible too sometimes. But be real careful about that, because some people just can go completely off on different situations.
Well, if I can feed in some
Yeah, you go right ahead, Mr. Reeves.
onto that topic, I feel that the healthcare bill was so monumentous that people really don't understand the impact it's going to have on the younger generations, people who are upcoming nowadays. And I have a lot of young nieces and nephews, and I think that it makes me feel good to see something like that pass,
Right.
because it's
Right.
going to benefit them.
Correct.
I'm willing to pay into something that's going to help them.
The country.
And,
Yeah.
And it's
The
about
community.
the youth. Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
the youth. It's not really about what's coming out of your check right now. And true enough, a lot of people need that money right now, but at the same time,
That's
are
probably the
are we
best
working
solution
for
we
the
have
future?
now.
Yeah.
Would you say?
What's that?
That's the best solution we have at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead. I mean, cut you off. Go ahead.
But I just think that that's why I feel happy about the healthcare bill.
Good.
To see the younger generation being able to benefit from something, and I think this is like
Starting
one of the
something good.
biggest things to happen since like the civil rights movement. It's
Yeah.
just huge.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are separated on the whole thing, just like they were back then.
Right.
And that's why it's so much turmoil going on right now. Well, what do you think about that?
Well, I tell you what I think about it. 2 decades. We took 2 decades to get this bill passed. I mean, I understand it's a touchy situation for a lot of folks, but today we're having victims assistance here. And like my colleague Tim Russell said, a lot of these folks need victims assistance because of all the violence. What's up with all the violence? We're having violence over the schools. We're having violence over the health care bill. We're showing that the whole country's divided. But you know, my whole thing is that when we select the commander-in-chief, we need to get behind him and rally with him to help pass some of these important issues pertaining, you know, like the health care bill. That is a gigantic, enormous bill that we finally got passed. You know, I'm not going to say anything about the Republicans or the Independents or the Democrats, but the thing is that, you know, we had a need for a situation with this health care bill, and somebody done something about it. I remember that there were two, the Republicans held, they held all the seats in the House, and then they even had the seats in the Senate, and yet still they didn't get anything done on that health care bill. So now that Barack has labored hard to get it passed with a lot of help of his people, you know, I just think that we need to give it a chance, give Barack a chance, and just see how this thing turns out. We just can't judge things just from the cover. So we just got to see how it works out. You know, we're going to have to debug some of this thing, but just give it a chance. I think it's a good thing also, so
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Right. So, and another thing, as far as that, you know, it's one of those things where you hate to think about it, but at this aspect, but this bill is one of those things that has been lingering with different presidents in different terms.
Yeah.
But it just never got addressed. It never got taken care of.
Back burner.
So he took it and moved it up front because, to me, he's recognizing us poor folks. Let me get some improper English. You know, he's looking at what's going on in the country and trying to address it. And to me, a lot of people just putting that on the back burner and put it on the back burner and kept, you know, just tap dancing around it.
Right.
But he brought it up front
Brought it in open.
and handled the business. And I don't know, you know, and another thing about it, which this is another show that we have to talk about. This thing when it got passed in Washington. I don't know if you've seen this. I didn't get to get my clippage on this one, but I'm sure I have some when that part of the show comes
Right.
up. This bill was passed, and in front of Washington, the disrespect of people using race names, you know, using the N-word and all this, just because the bill was passed. Well, what is that all about?
What?
You know, that is, you know, one of the congressmen, I can't think of his name right off top, he even got spat on as he was walking through there. I mean, that is so disrespectful. That's disrespecting one. You know, in our world, we're saying that that's the most high official job there. That's disrespecting the United States that alone. That's like spitting. That's like burning the flag. So over a bill that was passed, come on, get over it. You know, it's something that happened. If you do it correctly, do it the correct way. I'm not saying this is what she was trying to do. What's the lady name from Alaska?
Sarah Palin.
Palin. Yeah, and she made these targets, and then of all these different states, and have bullseye on. This is not the time to play with stuff like that.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
This stuff is serious. People are taking this serious. You
right.
can't do things like that. Once again, it bounces back. You need support from people like victim assistance.
Victims assistance.
And once we get it on and tell you about it, you're going to see what we're talking about. You need to respect them and what they do, because a lot of people don't. So that's just my tidbit of that for now.
Well, let me say one more thing.
And one more thing only.
One more thing. Look, you know, this right here is what Barack ran on. He ran, when he first started his campaign, he talked about equal rights. He talked about the health care bill. That was one of his main priorities of a bill getting passed. He wanted to get that health care bill passed. So now that he's been in office for a year, they did a critique on him. They said he wasn't doing much. Now that he's got the health care bill passed, I mean, they're still complaining. So, I mean, it's like a catch-22 to me right now. You know,
Right.
He can't win, he can't lose, but, you know, everybody's got an opinion on it. But
This is
I
gonna
think
be
he's doing
his-
what's best
This is going to be what gets him remembered. This is his mark
right here.
on history, what he's doing with the health care
Correct.
bill. And, a lot of people, don't respect it, but that's his legacy.